Welcome along to another edition. It's Saturday morning of the Morning Post, brought to you, of course, by the Racing Post and sponsored by William Hill. Dave Orton with you for the next hour or so. Stick with us. Loads coming up. A lot of previewing to do between Saturday and Sunday. It's classic time again, this time over in Ireland, of course, and we've got 7 domestic meetings on Saturday for us to have a pick at. We'll be giving you some best bets, all that sort of stuff, reacting to some big news. Of course, what happened last week at Newbury, looking at more classics. Royal Ascot, this is your place. It's also a place to have a shout out, of course. Thumbs up, like and subscribe. That's what we want, basically, here on the show. Your chance to have a shout out. We've got 2 able deputies as well in the studio, and I'm sure we can get some naps up and stuff as the show goes on, right? So bring them in. We'll get the panel to discuss that. Who is the panel? You're asking me. It's a warm welcome back to Kate Tracey, to a studio you know so well.
Yes, yeah, I do by now, don't I?
You're sort of manifesting the sun with Barcelona.
I know where you're off to in a few weeks' time.
All being well, they're going to have to put up with me for a bit. Yeah, which is quite
exactly.
nice.
So this was a nice sort of reminder for you then, exactly, that you've got a holiday coming up.
And you're breaking some news that when I'm out, the chap next to you is going to be sitting here.
Yeah, how come you're going on holiday and I've got to come back midway through mine and come in here?
Well, looking at your tan, it's about time that I got a bit of that, all right, Kills?
I mean, look, white as a sheet. Look.
The golfer's tan. A good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, mate.
It's been a busy old week, isn't it? We'll get to that in a second. Not so much of a midweek treat racing-wise. We had Sandown on Thursday night, where some reprobates ended up. We'll get to that shortly and reactions to that. But Johnny Simpson, let's bring you back on. John, welcome back to the show. Been a couple of weeks, our top William Hill trader.
Morning, Dave. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it as a feast of racing today. A little bit for everyone.
We're in the betting cave again with Johnny the Judge. Right, housekeeping out the way. A lot of people tune into this show to find out what the William Hill boost is on a Saturday. That basically means they're going to give you a horse that's priced up in the current market and boost the price. So, drum roll please. Big Rock was sunk last week. What's it going to be today?
Yeah, we're feeling confident after last week, and we're going to go for River Tiber in the Irish Guineas. We're going to go 92 from 72 for the usual £50. We think we can get him beat. We feel he might be a sprinter, so the petrol light might be blinking at the end of a mile. So yeah, River Tiber 92 from 72.
Oh, there you go. And listen, I don't know. Let's have a quick word about that with the panel. When I heard it was going to be River Tiber, I thought to myself, oh, they're dodging Rosalian, they're dodging Van Dijk. But this is strong, Kills.
Very, very strong. Being incredibly well backed, isn't it? I mean, I'd be in the same view as Hills. I mean, he's a doubtful stayer, isn't he? Although there is talk about Rosalian being a little bit
a blue point.
You know, he travelled so well through the 2,000 Guineas, didn't he? And then Notable Speech just went straight by him. So I think in an 8-runner race they're not going to go that fast. It's set up for the Fab, isn't it? So
yeah, well, we're going to preview the Guineas, so I won't ask you actually, Kate, because I've just remembered what your tip is, and you're seeing the ball big in the Guineas, like a lot of punters are. So look, there you go, it's live. River Tiber, all the way out to 922. So you're going to have a lot of that, up to 50 quid. And if John's right, and the exchanges are right, and all that sort of thing, which is often where you see the flood of money, that 922 could look humongous come 340 at the Curragh. All right, okay, now if you want to get involved with the members club or you want to buy that Racing Post this morning, love the feel of a Racing Post on a Saturday, and we've got them on our desk, and this is what you could get. Let's have a look at the front page, shall we, and bring you the Saturday paper roundup. This is what's coming up in the next hour. You can see that bar there. Rosalian, ready to roar. Yeah, okay. Oh, and 2 classic derbies as well. Of course, Celtic Rangers, that is huge. And good luck to the Manchester crews that are coming down to Wembley, descending on our part of the world at Racing Post Towers. Hannon, helping put the Brits on the front foot. Now, if you read David Jennings on page 2, our Deputy Irish Editor, he basically says this could be 3-0 to the Brits Classics and a complete change from the jump season. The Brits are winning. Canny Spencer could be sitting pretty on Hartem. Who's that? Is that who's done that? Oh, it's Conor Fenley, of course. Yes, indeed, burgeoning Irish tipster and reporter on our team over there. Hartem then for him. Hard to find fault with unbeaten Van Dijk. Could this be the poster boy that the sprint division so badly needs domestically? We'll be getting into that. Tom Siegel, the Price-Wise Supremo himself. There you go. Don't look at the headline, just look at the best bets. Can do no more. Hammered that has been in our first preview. That's the Silver Bowl at Haydock. Cerulean Bay, big eye catcher there last time, says Tom. Beautiful Diamond in the Temple. Inner Sharon to upset Van Dijk. And Divine Comedy thrown in for a few laughs in the 3:30 at Haydock. All right, that's basically in the paper today. News this week. I said, Kills, it has been a bit quieter on the midweek racing front. We've had that lovely period, haven't we? We get York and Chester and all that sort of thing. But news-wise, it has been big. We've been looking at Derby markets. We were talking last week about Ambiente Friendly. I don't even know, Kate, but Kills has put all his eggs in that basket, basically, for the Derby. You were hoping that, maybe economics wouldn't go. He doesn't. But that's not been a talking point of the week.
No, switch of jockey. Callum Shepherd gets the Evo, and it's just a strange one, isn't it? Rab Havlin. No disrespect to Rab Havlin, but I mean, it's an indication of what the Gredleys think about the current state of British jockeys, isn't it? That a 50-year-old understudy who rode his first Group 1 winner after 30 years is considered the best available jockey for the Derby second favourite. I mean, it's mad, and he's got, he's naught from 25 at Epsom in the last 12 years. Callum Shepherd 7 from 28 in the last 4.
Yeah.
With all winners hefty odds against as well.
A burgeoning young jockey.
And rides downhill tracks well, as he showed at Goodwood yesterday on Isle of Jura. Massive drifter. Horse didn't know that. Jockey didn't know that. He came through and won.
Yeah.
Don't get it. Really just don't understand it.
And the people very cleverly got the stats up very quickly. I was seeing some messages going around here at the Racing Post, and the swap the Epsom records. Callum's got really.
Well, yeah. I mean, the other thing is, the idea that you need experience there. I mean, Emmett McNamara, Boyd Beggy.
Yeah. Well, you rattled out a stat, didn't you?
Yeah.
How many of the last Derbies have been won by first-time jocks?
Well, there were 7 in a row until Ryan Moore last year. Some of them were very good. Obviously, William Buick and Adam Kirby, who gave Ad a brilliant ride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they were still all first-timers.
Yeah.
And how much experience do you need around there these days? It's not like the Derby's going to have 25 runners. Only 21.
No.
Only 21 in it now, and we're not even at the 5 days.
So did we feel a bit ranty about this?
I wouldn't say ranty. I mean, look, it's up to the owners what they do. I just, and they can put anyone on it they like. I just thought that decision was strange.
Yeah.
Because, we're used to horse jockeys getting jocked off for Derby rides and all that, but they
This happened to Tom Marquand. Do you remember? That was the famous
English
one with
King.
Frankie,
right.
wasn't it?
They always get dropped off for big race jockeys. Now, obviously they made the decision quite early, but Tom Marquand's now available. Is he not?
Well,
he would be. Godolphin have got 1 runner in it, so James Doyle is available. At least, you know what I mean? And
maybe the viewers will be crunching the numbers and seeing how many Gredley horses Rab Havlin has ridden. But
He's had the 2 novice winners, I believe, for them, has he already this season? So I think that they've got the nice little link up then from earlier on. But yeah, I slightly feel sorry for Rab Havlin in this because, like I say, he's kind of been now the subject of all of these stat attacks, and of course he's going to take the opportunity of a golden opportunity when it comes. But I'm in total agreement where I don't like this decision.
Yeah, it was just that's not a case of not liking it. I just found it very strange. You know what I mean?
it does seem to be a thing.
And don't get me wrong, he is a fine jockey, and I think a lot of the time when you look at records around Epsom, it doesn't matter. I remember opposing Gruder because Paul Hannigan had a shocking record on downhill tracks, and of course he gave it an absolute peach and won by half the track. If the horse is good enough, it'll still win whoever's on it.
Some people pointed to a horse of John Gosden's. Do you remember Annapurna's year when Frankie won on the supposed second string? Mediah? Rabgate, you watch that back, it's like a bumper car. So anyway, look, I don't know, but you're right, Kate, to bring some balance to that, because I'm sure a lot of leading jockeys haven't got the greatest record around Epsom, so we mustn't bash Rab for that. Talking of Rab, of course, it was the shock of shocks in the Lockinge. This happens quite a bit in mile races. I remember Summoner going back. Kills will remember further back to some big ones, Cape Cross, etc. What did you make of that, Kate?
It was a bit of a farce of a race then, really, wasn't it, for audience? A horse, and again, I'm in a very forgiving mood in terms of jockeys in behind, where I know a lot of people were crabbing those in behind. Why on earth did they not try and reach audience? But when you've got a horse that everyone had assumed was then the pace setter for Inspiral in this race, went forwards, horse that was completely unproven over the trip, that has always been keen throughout his career as well, and you can't really blame those jockeys for not just expecting him to fall back into their laps at some point. But the pace was just holding up on the straight track at Newbury on that day for time and time again. So
it didn't go slow.
No.
It certainly didn't go slow. And obviously what happened was they wanted to follow Big Rock. And I think there might have been a little bit of a mid-track bias.
Well, Kieran Schumacher definitely made a beeline for Big Rock.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But and where would Inspiral have finished had she been right behind?
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Frankie gave Kieran Schumacher get the stand side. That's where everyone's been coming.
Yeah, but
so,
this is
he
it.
phoned
And every
Frankie
now
and said, "What do I need to
every
know?"
now and again, there is a mid-track bias at Newbury. It does move about. And I have a sneaky feeling that was, and of course I was gutted because I backed Witch Hunter at 50s and he came through and beat
Yeah,
all the
that
others.
ran a blinder, by the way. Yeah, a
A
lot of people were annoying me, calling me and saying, Paul Kealy does actually know what he's talking about. He read the race perfectly. I was a bit like, he occasionally gets it right.
Yeah, only problem is the pacemaker stayed there.
Yeah, so look, that was just like throw it up in the air form. I mean, apparently Inspire was going past audience like it was at home, like it was nobody's business.
The idea of doing it at Ascot in the Queen Anne, completely different track.
Oh, completely, to be able to try and do that.
So, here are the mark. Now, is that an overreaction to Big Rock at 12-1? We think Inspiral will step up at some point. She is in the Prince of Wales, is on the Wednesday, over a mile too. But I think at the moment, probably Kills her give her another chance over the mile still.
Yeah, I mean, she's run the occasional stinker in her life. It was becoming a distant memory, wasn't it? Because she got really consistent last year. And she has won 6 Group 1s. I don't think the Big Rock's a drastic exaggeration because, you know, he's gone to a new trainer. He's come out and he's run almost the worst race of his life. Certainly,
he went into the race the best miler in the world, Kills.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But he also went to a low strike rate trainer, and I mean, you can never take anything for granted with the British weather. We're only talking about 3 weeks away, but you're not expecting soft ground at Ascot in June, are you?
It has happened, of course, when you had your big accidental agent. Do you
remember?
That
wasn't soft ground.
That was soft ground. It was the worst week of the entire last 10 years.
Not when accidental agent won.
Well, anyway, I remember being covered in rain and everyone going, Kills has won the races
You were covered
already.
in champagne.
That press room is much missed, I can tell you that much. All right, okay. We're having loads of fun. We're having loads of conversation. Great to have you with us. Good morning if you just joined us on the Morning Post. We're talking about what was. Are we expecting then maybe the 3-year-old milers to go and dominate just before we move on? Having looked at our mile division. No Bide, is there? No, you know.
Yeah, well, we don't know, but they're not going to be in the Queen Anne. The Queen Anne's still a fascinating race. I was trying to persuade the owners to enter Sonny Liston, who bolted up in that handicap on the day, like, you know, and he loves it there. Like, you know,
talking about being covered in champagne.
But they haven't got the bottle anyway.
You've obviously been that way.
70 grand. It's not my money, is it?
You'd rather drink the bottle than pay the bottle. All right, okay, that was what was. All right, before we now get into our big previews, we must talk about the weather today, of course. It's been kind of drying everywhere, but we know, Kate, that Haydock has its own microclimate. We have the 2 feature races, I suppose, of the day there, the Temple Stakes, and maybe the Sandy Lanes, great handicaps as well. What are we expecting? A lot said about the ground there this week.
A lot said about the ground. A lot said about the ground at a various amount of places. Of course, Warwick, then they fell foul of watering and then being hit with the weather. I felt sorry for Warwick because Warwick never get it wrong, and they unfortunately got it wrong this week. Haydock then similar. Of course, we've got the new clerk, of course, with Dan Cooper, Andrew Cooper's nephew, taking over from Kirkland Tellwright. And yeah, I think that he would have to, brilliant clerk from what he had shown previously at Wincanton and Exeter, but I think he would have to put his hands up and just say he's just got it wrong, unfortunately. Read the forecast wrong then this week. But it was so changeable that it
wasn't. I'm sorry. I'm not having. It was changeable.
Go on, knock it out the park.
If they use an agency and the agency told them they wouldn't get that much, then they need to use a different agency. Because because I do the weekender, I am glued to it on Monday night, right? And I always look, and I have to file Monday night, so I've got no real choice, right? There was slightly different forecasts on Monday night, right? But none said it would be dry. Plenty said there'd be loads. Right, by 9 a.m. Tuesday morning, or even before that, every single one suggested it was going to be biblical.
Yeah.
And they still put 5 mil of water on at 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning. I mean, it's completely bonkers.
What a way to spend a Monday night. What a way. Most of us at Windsor having an old crack.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got to work, haven't I? And I don't get the decks don't reach the website till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, do they, for Saturday? So
they got this massively wrong.
Yeah, terribly wrong. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they got so much it'd still be soft ground anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, the idea that they needed to put it on to maintain with that forecast was completely crazy.
Yeah, Chester got a few pelters, of course, earlier in the month as well. All right, that's that. Okay, the previews are now coming your way. 11 races. Johnny Dineen joining the show shortly as well. Before that, some free bets for you. Honestly, it's like being in a nightclub when they play that, isn't it, in here, in this studio? You can hear the subwoofer out in the studio just belting along.
Our version nowadays.
Well, we need to dance through these previews, all right? So
I haven't been in a nightclub for about 30 years.
Let's make that happen, shall we?
Pop World, Cheltenham or Liverpool, not as... No.
Let's make that happen. We've got, unfortunately, our eyes were burning with Luke Harvey on holiday recently, raving it. Let's get Keels doing it, shall we? Oh, what do you reckon about that, Johnny? That'd be a bit of fun. All right, what's going to be the dancing queen in the first at Haydock? It is the Silver Bowl, which is won by a progressive 3-year-old each and every year. A feverish betting race, and let's, spoiler alert, William Hill, you're not looking forward to this one.
No, it's from an anti-post point of view. We've got a few horses we want to avoid, namely Ellie Laylax. We were 14-1 on Monday. That's been one-way traffic, but we're happy to stand that at 5-1 now. It's got short enough, so yeah, we're happy to take that one on. Can do no more. Well documented that Tom Segal's tip there. That's really strong. But in the last sort of half an hour, involvement 13-2 from 8. That's one of the latest money's going. We're saying we're playing 4 places here, so fair spread of business at the moment.
Right. Okay, there's a non-runner in there, of course, which has seen a couple of price collapses. This is the joint effort this week. It was Witch Hunter last week. You know what I'm referring to. The chap you sit next to every week. The chap you're on WhatsApp every week. Mm-hmm. Oh, are you not on? Are you not?
I'm not on Can Do No More.
Oh, I thought you put that up as well as involvement.
No.
Okay.
I tell you what, I very, very nearly did, funnily enough.
I think I did as
well. I kept watching that Haydock run, and I thought, crikey, he didn't half looking impressive. But then I looked at it, and I actually thought to myself, actually, he's beaten rubbish. That was my idea. Now, I must admit, I thought that about Wild Tiger at Goodwood yesterday, and
hosed up.
And he hosed up. So I mean, it's just you make a decision in races, don't you? And I just thought to myself, he's actually beaten rubbish. He obviously didn't get put up for it because it was a novice race. But I came down on the side of involvement because I think he should be unbeaten.
Have you agreed on anything this week before I go and lean on that again?
We do agree on Divine Comedy in the 2-mile handicap.
Which
I
we'll
took
get
that
to.
anti-post, but not in
All
the
right.
paper today.
There's a little tip for you in advance.
So anyway, involvement has no form on soft ground. That's for a start. I mean, won Redcar first time out last year on Good to Firm. Then ran at Newcastle, had to switch around most of the field. Only just failed to get up. Winner might be okay. A Haggis trained, lightly raced one. And then last time at Epsom just should have won, but it was pending on the rail and had to be pulled out against the Camber, and didn't quite get there. I think he's potentially way ahead of his mark. I know his form doesn't suggest he is.
Yeah.
The question mark is the ground. Of course, he has got a half sister who won in the mud. So I would take a chance. I mean, it was 14-1 when I was backing him. So he has come down an awful lot. Obviously, the Fav is out.
This is your player of the day on the website as well.
Yeah, I did like him. I just like the look of him. I think he's going to be a lot better than that.
Okay, well, okay. So involvement, seeing the ball big for Keels. David Jennings has done a 10 to follow in the paper today as well. Classic hopes all over the place, and that's who you've agreed with because he messaged you in the week and said, "What's our record like together?" I'm thinking of putting up involvement. Your response was, "Can we print it?"
Oh dear. Replace that with another 4-letter word.
Great stuff. All right, so time to get involved then. What is it now? 13-2. That was when we came in this morning, all us guys into the office. That was somewhat bigger, but stick around for the end of the show if you want a little bit bigger than that. A little tip there. I looked at this race, Kate, and I thought Can Do No More might be the one. Then I looked at Cerulean Bay. That's Tom's other tip. Saw it was a little bit unlucky in running there. I wouldn't go massive unlucky. And then I looked at Blue Lemons, who at Sandown last time pushed one of the best handicapped horses in training. Very close indeed. And I thought, I'm going to have to play 3 in this race.
Fair enough.
It's always like that, isn't it? Because I actually anti-post back the thing that finished 4th in that Blue Lemons race at Sandown. It was called Cracking Gold.
Yes, Clive Cox's horse.
Who's won the race twice for the Roonies. Looked a similar sort. So
Yes.
that is a good bit of form. The third was runner-up in the German Derby.
Yeah, it was.
Or Italian Derby, sorry, Italian Derby.
Andrew Balding's horse.
Andrew Balding's
pounds.
horse. And of course, the winner was trained by Harry Charlton, and he was their London Gold Cup horse until King's Gambit.
He's a
come out.
proper horse.
You know what I mean? So it could be a good line of form.
It is a good line of form. But what wins it for Kate Tracey?
Can do no more. I'm really pleased, obviously, to see the market support. I didn't even realise that Mr. Segara had put up this horse. But naturally now the market support hugely followed him in. And I completely agree with Keels of what he beat last time out with the other market, well, with the favourite, disappointing in that race. But by that reckoning, I believe that's why the handicap couldn't unchange his mark from his opening, though, which I think now sees him feasibly treated. On previous trends of this race, he's probably lowly enough rated for this, but with factoring in how impressive he was and the pinch of salt you have to take with that form, I actually think it's, in a reverse kind of way, worked out in his favour. So, soft ground, no issue for him. Clearly, course and distance, no issue for him as well. And similar to King's Gambit in the London Gold Cup last week, similar contest here then. But for the milers, I think that this horse is the one that's going to go on to bigger and better things.
We love our all-age handicaps, and having said we were going to dance through the previews, I think that's going to be a meaty one, because the Silver Bowl, we'll see something go to Royal Ascot. You have had a range of tips. It's a belter. That's the 1:15 and gets us underway. Let's go to Goodwood now, shall we? It's the cocked hat weekend, height of fashion, whatever you call it. But we've got William Hill, Harroways handicap here. William Hill Harroways handicap here, yeah. And Al Shabab Storm. Just looking at the price of Kirat there as well. That looks like it's a drifter to me, Johnny Simpson. Another tricky puzzle.
Yeah, we're paying 4 places here again for punters, so a little bit of each way value. Al Shadab Storm has been, really well found in the market. Obviously, after Chester been caught really wide. But the worst result for us here is the Camden Colt. I must say, this caught me by surprise. It's been 16 into 15 to 2. Now there's a little bit of a rule 4 in there. There's a couple of non-runners, but the Camden Colt is the each way horse here.
Yeah, a few people liking that horse this weekend. Should say that William Hill, nod to all the boys and girls that are sponsoring us. They sponsor also at York and Goodwood this weekend. Another massive nods to that. Kate, want to come to you on this one? 4-1 the field.
Yeah, and again, I've got another 4-1 shot in here after my selection. Our first race has been backed in, but Al Shabab Storm, though, for me. I know that second at Chester last time out, you can say, well, he was pushed wider, covered an awful lot more ground than the winner in that race. But at the same time, at Chester that week, we know that the wider route into the home straight wasn't any sort of negative, generally speaking. So, again, you can see that form going either way, but still thought it was likeable. Has the nice draw this time around in 4, and obviously the return to 7 furlongs, no issue with track and ground, no issue either.
All right, Al Shabab Storm for Kate there, as you can see down the bottom. This is another 4-place race. Are we going to need those 4 places?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think 9 of the last 10 winners have been 6 or lower, and 6 of them have been 3 or lower, something like that. So you do need a low draw. I mean, it's not as pronounced as it is on the Friday of Glorious Goodwood, but in which last year we had loads of everything was drawn high, wasn't
Let's
it?
just forget last year's
there
Glorious Goodwood.
There is an advantage. It's funny. I'd like to start. I need to start also backing the ones I would decide to throw out, because the Camden Colt was one, and it was 25s at one point yesterday morning. All right, and I haven't had a bean on, and I just discarded him in the end for Newsreader, who
Kevin
is
Philippot
much less exposed. Form figures 7-1-1. Same horse in those form figures all the time. Lessay, who won the race the first time. Newsreader then beat him at Kempton, getting a fair chunk of weight, but then beat him more easily. Revised £5 worse off, I think it was. So I think he's just going the right way. There's no reason at all why he won't act on turf. I mean, there was no turf racing when he did all his running.
Sure.
He sees it out really well. My issue with the Camden Colt was I thought there was a fair amount of pace in the race, and it might just be a bit of a pace collapse, and I might want to sit behind it.
Yeah.
Like, a little bit. So that was where I was coming from. And I just thought, Newsreader was also about 16 at the time, and it was just one of those. He's every bit as promising as a lot of horses that were shorter than him in the betting with a higher draw. I mean, obviously the market has now sort of corrected itself. But I still think he won well.
This is a really good race, isn't it? We started off with 2 brilliant handicaps. Kierat, the drift for me, I wouldn't worry too much about that. He had a horse, Rafe Beckett, whose name escapes me, at the track yesterday. That was making its return and still nearly won
Rafe
it.
Beckett, oh no, not Rafe Beckett, it was David Simcock won it. Sorry, there was a Bless Him running this race years ago before he won Britannia, and he was out of the handicap and got beat.
Right.
Squeezed into Britannia and hacked up, and we know what he's done.
We've started off with 2 Britannia trials, isn't it? Great for Royal
Yes,
Ascot.
yeah.
All right, okay. So Al Shabab Storm and Newsreader just on top.
Newsreader just for me, yeah.
Yeah, I think looking at that 8-1 about Newsreader, hard not to agree, isn't it? Got Dragon Leader in there as well. Might settle better in this field as well. Classy 2-year-old. Let's move on. Go to some classy sprinters, shall we? Talk about divisions in need of help, like the mile division. Who's going to be the star this year in the sprinting division? We might just get to him in the next race at Haydock, Johnny. But 4-1 the field. I've been waiting for something to go clear in this. Is it going to be Rogue Lightning?
I'm not so sure at the moment. The horse that continues to be for money is Vadream. Now, this was obviously well documented on Monday. This was 20-1 across the board, and it was it's the fastest finger first to shorten it up with the forecast. But at 9-2, we're happy to stand Vadream now. The value has completely gone out to that. I think Rogue Lightning is the one to be on here. And after a really unlucky run in the Prix de l'Abbé, this horse could really sort of take the sprinter division by storm.
Is anything red up there, Johnny? We learned from Jamie McBride he doesn't like the colour red.
Oh no, Vadream is red in the anti-post book and red in the day of the race book, and is getting redder.
That means red alert, basically, for William Hill with horses that have been backed. All right, great stuff. Lovely, isn't it, to lift the lid on how the trading works. Keels, tell me about this race, because I just don't know really where to look. I wanted to be living the dream, but...
Well, I have had a few quid on Vadream at 20s, and I'm kicking myself for not tipping her in the weekend. I wouldn't back her at 9-2 now, I don't think. You know what I mean? I think she's up to going very close. Living the Dream is obviously going to go very hard. Will he be ready first time at this level? That's your question mark, and especially on the ground. I mean, he's a good horse, isn't he? Obviously. I ended up coming down again. He's shortened a bit now. Equality, I think, was looking a little bit overlooked in the market, as what I'd say. Now, he ran 2 absolute stinkers in Dubai, but then he came back at Musselburgh, won that handicap from a wide draw at Musselburgh. He's given 22 and £20 to the second and third. The third one next time out. And it's right on his own. He was third in the Flying 5 at the Cara. So he's got Group 1 form. He's 2 away from living the dream. He can follow him. Only issue, of course, is they're out in the middle of the track, and we've got to see where they go.
Because last year was a big
last year they watered a ridiculous bias into it. I mean, hopefully some, a bit of natural water, but they did seem to be coming for the stands rail again yesterday. So
it has become a bit laughable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for Dream, what price for? Because punters that aren't involved, and they're like, well, everyone thinks this is like a great price at 20s. He's probably going to win.
Well, this comes down to the fact that she obviously handles soft ground really, really well. She won a carriage by miles on it last year. She beat Living the Dream on soft ground at Newmarket last year. She's run an absolute blinder, actually not far off her career best on good ground in the Palace House last time, albeit it was a messy race, and I'd be looking to mark that race down for everything rather than saying it is what it is. She definitely handles soft ground very, very well.
Rogue Lightning is one I don't really like. I don't know why. I just don't. I thought the Beautiful Diamond was quite interesting, but that Palace House, Kate, at Newmarket, which again is the road into this, towards the King's Stand or whatever it's called these days, on the opening day, they all finished in a heap. Yeah. And while 3-year-old won it last year for Carl Burke, dramatised, whatever she won it, I'm not convinced by her either. Help me out.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, again, at least it's not 4-1 now, 9-2 instead than for Dream for me here. But she was the one for me. Again, bigger prices in the week, which isn't any help to anyone watching this now. But because of the watering, because of the forecast, because everything that's played out, everyone has latched onto that completely for Dream. But yeah, she does have to reverse that form with 7 Questions, who has been dismissed here, but 14-1. Didn't look to be all that much fluke about that success. Like I say, they did all finish in a heat, but didn't look to be that much fluke Luke about it. So I am wary of 7 Questions here, being able to back that up, but I would still need to see him proving that. But yeah, the Dream, just the form stacks up for her, doesn't it? Even from Bath, where the ground was too quick for her, behind a day in Devon, who went on to finish second in the Commonwealth Cup trial, and then also in the Carnarvon Stakes, she ran a blinder. So that form's pretty solid anyway. And so for the Dream, we know she comes good at this time of year as well.
It got a boost yesterday as well, didn't it, at Haydock? James Tate won with Electric. Was it Electric Storm?
Yeah,
Second
that didn't it? Yeah.
Hosed up.
Looked very good, didn't it? One day I was at Sandown for the Brigadier General meeting, and a punter came up to me halfway through the day. And so I just seen Clive Cox. I asked him about his horse. He said he's got no chance. He said, but have a couple of quid each way on Kurdos on Saturday.
Always looked like he could be a very talented horse.
Yeah, big.
A beautiful looking horse, Kurdos. There's an elephant in the room, of course, here for everyone. It's called Asfoora. And would you like me to educate you, with my Australian knowledge on Asfoora?
Have you been to Australia?
I might have been to Australia and done racing before. I don't know if I've ever told you.
She's the form horse on the best form, isn't she? She's got a penalty.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. She's not great in at the weights. She's got age and fillies allowance. She doesn't get it. She's on the same rating as Living in the Dream. But you think that Living in the Dream's none-thought form might be the best in this race. Her win at Caulfield in the Scalacci Stakes, it was called. She beat a horse called Chain of Lightning that day, who came out and won the TJ Smith Stakes, which is a very valuable race at Randwick. It was horrible weather that day, but Chain of Lightning's a proper horse. She won't mind any dig under.
No, I was going to say she's 2 on what they call soft ground over there. Yeah, she's something like that. So,
and Henry Dwyer, a trainer, was interestingly in his comments today in the Post, he said, "I think her most likely chance of a domestic Group 1 in Britain will be the Nunthorpe." So what do we take from that? I don't know.
Well, he did say she's going to get better as the season goes on. So
she's been here for a while.
You've got to read for that she's not prime now.
Yeah, she might even be Breeders' Cup bound then.
Yeah, she's just been friendless, Johnny.
Yeah, we can't give her away. I mean, my reading of it was that she's probably not the best they've brought over, and obviously got a few targets, Royal Ascot and York. So I could see a promising run here, but we'll be happy to take her on.
All right, okay. Look, I must admit, if there's one that I'm going to be with here, and it's a race that just makes my head hurt at the minute in the sprint division, as it entirely does, it would be her. I'd take a chance that Mitch Lakin comes up, a normal hoop, as they call them down under. See, I know what I'm talking about. But Elshie Murphy's going to take the ride at Royal Ascot. Work that one out. Okay, all right. Let's move on, shall we? Where are we going now? It is back to Goodwood, of course. It's a Height of Fashion Stakes. And there's a very well-fancied horse here that ran in the Guineas, Johnny the Judge. It's called Regal Jubilee. Are the Costons working this one out according to the market?
Yeah, it's one of the quieter races for the Saturday afternoon. Regal Jubilee and Francophone both 9 to 4. There's been little movement in terms of money here, so we're just going to play this one with a straight bat.
And basically see what happens in the 10 minutes leading up to it, then, I would imagine. Regal Jubilee. We've got Johnny Dineen on the line. I wonder whether John is going to join us, hopefully, for a couple of minutes' time. I wouldn't mind bringing Johnny in for this. There's a poll, by the way, guys, I'm hearing as well. You're probably seeing it if you're watching on a YouTube channel, of course. There is a poll for the Irish 2,000 Guineas. By the way, classic action all over the place. We'll be doing Sunday preview as well. So many races to give you this morning. Right, let's start whittle through this one. Height of Fashion Stakes used to be an Oaks trial. Not anymore, really, Kate. But it's a Regal Jubilee who ran very well at Newmarket on her return. It was a very good 2-year-old. Flopped in the Guineas. But were there reasons for that?
I don't know. That's why I just wanted to take her on, because I didn't know if there really would be for her. Like I say, there was a definite flop from everything that we saw of her in the Guineas there. But I know she got that bit short of room in the closing stages, was bang up there as well. So, but a whole load of horses you could be saying that for in the 1,000 Guineas. So I just don't know about her, and I really like this Francophone. It is a strange place to have this race, really, is it? Like I say, previously an Oaks trial, but then we've had the Oaks trials. We've got the Oaks in less than a week now as well. It's not, it's a random place to put this, but hopefully it won't matter for Francophone, and then she can go on to the Ribblesdale then ideally as well, because I think she does want the mile 4. I don't know. That's the only concern I have for her is last time out over the 10, she just lacked the turn of foot of the winner in that. So I just wondered if the step up in trip was what she needed following the Musadora. And that Musadora form, again, I'm not overly convinced by it. And with the disappointment of Friendly Soul in it as well, not overly convinced by it, but she just lacked the turn of foot. But everything that we have previously seen from her was still very smart, very notable. So hopefully this will give her a nice confidence booster.
Joe Fanning and the Johnstons. What about Kills?
The Johnstons have always been great at Goodwood, haven't they? But I actually thought the Musadora form was terrible. I mean, the winner pulled like a train all the way and still won easily. So I mark everything else in that race well down. And Regal Jubilee's just taken a massive, massive drop in class. She is bred to stay the trip. She's a half to Regal Reality. I think she'll win.
Yeah, OK. Another man that thinks she will win is Johnny Dineen. Let's go across the Irish Sea and welcome. Here he is, John, looking like he's... I'm not sure where I'm going with that, John. You might have just woken up, or you've had a fight with a bush.
He's dressed anyway.
But at least he's dressed. Guten Morgen, Johnny Dineen.
Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Oh, I'm winning, John. Great to have you on. And it's timely to have you on as well, John, because you like this joint fav.
Yeah, I think I agree with Paul. She's taken a drop in grade here. I'd be disappointed if she couldn't give £3 to these now, to be fair. I agree. Francophone, like, it looked a kind of a half improved effort in the Musadora, but I have a feeling as Kate said that was a weakish race, and I wouldn't trust the form of it. And like it's up to 99 now, but its previous form was, I think, it won a maiden off was rated 86 or something like that. So the Regal Jubilee is more solid form. Its form in the Fred Darling is decent. It's, as Paul said, it's bred to get the trip, and I was going to chance it now. It was definitely one of my better bets of the whole day. Wouldn't be surprised if it's beaten, but I'd be hoping that she'd get it done all right.
Well, great to have you with us, John, and a very timely there. So that's one of Johnny's bigger plays of the weekend. You can get Johnny's column, of course, in the Racing Post Members Club digitally. Go and have a read. Get your questions in for John as well as the rest of the panel. OK, that's Goodwood. We're motoring along. Let's go to the Sandy Lane Stakes, of course. Commonwealth Cup Trial. I don't know. A good, decent Group 2 in its own right. And Van Dijk, different parish top jockey, said Stephen Harris. Stephen, welcome along. Yes, I'm with you on that. Johnny, let's bring you in the judge. Let's go to William Hill Betting Cave. What is he doing, John? What did he start the week as? I've seen him shorter. Are punters sitting on their hands a bit with this? We've got the penalty, first time back against some race-fit rivals. But a lot of people will be, fingers crossed, this is the sprinter we need in 2024.
Yeah, well, we opened up even money on Monday, and that was taken fairly quickly. It's been down to 8 to 11, and it's all the last half an hour, so he's starting to be really weak. There's some good money around for Inisherin, obviously ran really well in the Guineas, but Van Dijk has been notably weak so far, out to 10 to 11. He's currently 5 to 2 for the Commonwealth Cup. Obviously, he's the horse we're all looking forward to take the sprinting 3-year-old sprinting division by storm, but 10 to 11 and fairly weak at the moment.
We've got a runner that took in the Guineas and in a Sharon. Fascinating. We've got Pura Sanku. Probably should come on for that Ascot return in the Commonwealth Cup trial. We've got the Greenham winner, of course, in Esquire. We've got the unbeaten Airman. Orn, who's trying to reinvent himself as a sprinter, and the durable, closely matched with Esquire, Alaskan Gold, Pandora's Gift doesn't go. Johnny Dineen, you'd have been looking at this all week. Where do we stand with Van Dijk?
Look, it all boils down to, I suppose, it's a prep run for the Commonwealth Cup, I'd imagine, and I suppose it's going to be 4 weeks off of peak fitness. It's his first run. He hasn't any ground issues. Look, he's a clear form choice. He just falls into at even money, the too good to be true category for me. You know what I mean? He looks a horse that I would have seen could have seen good off like 7-4 on against these horses. So the fact that he is weak is a small bit disconcerting in my eyes, anyway. And look, I couldn't possibly oppose him because he is the clear form horse in a race like this. And I'd be surprised if he's running him like as not in some sort of shape at the same time. But it is a prep race for him. I suppose I do fancy him, but at 10 to 11. I'd be happier to back him if he was 8 to 13. If that's a funny thing to say.
No, it's not at all, John.
Yeah, look, I just think that the weakness in him, and I've got trapped in a few of these horses this season. The horses that they look to have a class edge, but invariably they do come on for their first run. So maybe he'll get beaten. I still couldn't oppose him though, because I'd go mad if I backed against him and he won. I do fancy him at the same time.
Thanks, Johnny. Kels, I'm going to come to you on this one. Interesting about what John said about the price there. Is it a bit stinky too good to be true? What John said about seeing something like of this class that goes all the way down, it does give you the confidence that are like connections like this is A class, this is going to go and just absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to see what happens nearer the time, to be honest, because morning trading will be weak compared to the last 10 minutes, and we might find out a little bit more. I mean, yes, it does worry you. I mean, when you look at it, there are question marks. I mean, I do think he's a completely different class and will win if he's straight enough, but he is running against race-fit rivals, and he is first time out, and he is being prepared for a race in a few weeks' time. He can't be that far short. It's only 3 weeks away.
Who's the bigger danger then, Kills?
At those prices, I'd back Pure Sang over in a sharing. I think Tom's ruined the price for in a sharing. Did run well in the Guineas, did travel strongly in the Guineas, but Pure Sang is an out-and-out soft ground sprinter.
He's not bred to sprint in a sharing, but this is Kevin Ryan, of course.
No, this is, of course, but he travelled well, and that's what he looks like. Some horses aren't and turn out to be, don't they?
And they turn out to win this race.
But I do think Pure Sang is a pure soft ground sprinter.
Yeah.
And he's got his conditions.
He's won at Haydock.
He's won at York on soft ground as well.
That was a good race, that.
Like, you know what I mean? So if I was going to bet without the fab, that's what I'd do. I don't think I'm going to get involved in the race.
So much respect for Van Dijk that you're looking for without market.
Yeah, I'll leave it.
Right. Very interesting there. Who's the same? Come on, let's ramp up. Great to have a social in there. Stephen, welcome to the show. And stick with us. Let's hear from the rest of you out there, please. I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, Kate, I'm great that you're here. Horsey person, right? In amongst people that, what did John say? He wouldn't know whatever it was from an elbow the other day. Wouldn't know a mane from an elbow, whatever it was. But Van Dijk has caught the public imagination, largely because Ed Crisford came out and said before he won the pre-morning, he was actually asleep in his stable.
Yeah. Oh, he's so cool. Like you say, the mental constitution, but still in his actual races, he's still got enough. He's still raw enough, though, where you just anticipate further improvement still to come from him, which seems mad, but into his 3-year-old year. So, of course, you've always got that potential. We saw it notably, clearly, with City of Troy. Then you have no idea exactly where they are going to be then into that next season as a 3-year-old. But from the mental constitution, from still what he's got to work on in terms of his racing, he just is so exciting for this year. So, yeah, I can't oppose him in terms of the win. But, I mean, it's frustrating that we're down to the 7 runners now because Pure Sang was also the each-way play then for me. But I did feel like I was mainly aiming at the 2 places. But I didn't want to go the without market because bearing in mind that Van Dijk, as I say, this is his reappearance start. We haven't had a horse winning this on their reappearance in the last 10 years either. And my colleague Matty Sutcliffe pointed me in that direction for Van Dijk. So I still didn't feel like I was chucking away the win part of an each-way bet. But now that I'm realistically, I feel like I'm only aiming for the 1 place, and with a 1/4 of the odds then for Pure Sang, it has put me off then for that each way play. So Van Dijk to win.
Is anyone like me out there that just think Van Dijk just wins whatever condition he turns up in? I don't know. I like in the show, and I think the market's pretty much got this right. So Pure Sang, by the way, that was a.
Is that? I'm pretty sure that's.
Yeah, Kate,
how it is. I don't know. I might have made that up on the spot.
Yeah, if anyone's going to know, it's Kate Tracey. Someone could let us know that. Could someone of the viewers out there let me know if Harry Angel, because the market leaders in this, Little Big Bear bounced back from the Guineas somehow last year, but he was on the rail. But he was a favourite, the one. Harry Angel before that, and then there was a horse right at the bottom of the list. I can't remember his name. Promoter, maybe, something like that. But let me know. Was Harry Angel first time out? I think he can do it. Anyway, all right. That is the Sandy Lane. We've mentioned York. Pure Sang was a winner there. Let's go for the Bronte Cup, shall we? Mile 6, great card at York on a Saturday as ever. We've just had the Dante meeting. You were there, Johnny the Judge, and you've been looking forward to this one.
I have, yeah. It's a spoiler alert. There's a strong fancy in this race for later on with the Naps. The week 1 here is Gather Ye Rosebuds. That was open up 3-1 on Thursday. I'll double the price at 6. Doing a little bit of money for Safety Catch. That's 32 from 9. And one for Jumps fans, Marie's Rock. We put that in 25 to 1. Oh, no chance. It's now into 10 to 1. So which could be a little bit embarrassing. Marie's Rock 10 from 25.
Hendo can do it, and Hendo we trust. Yeah, it was good. Great to see Nikki's comments in the week. She's not bred for it, but she's diminutive. Perhaps she loves going in the stalls, and she'll be absolutely fine. This is the William Hill Bronte Cup, of course, sponsorship at Goodwood and York. And again, we've got last year's winner coming out, 5-2 for River of Stars. She won it first time out last year, Kate.
Yeah, it's been the aim for her. So yeah, a tricky sort of betting race for me. I wouldn't be having a big play in this, but yeah, River of Stars, though, I would expect to be taking the beating in this. Like you say, won this on a reappearance last year. Set some lofty targets last year, then subsequently, and a lightly race campaign as well. Second in the Group 2 against the boys at Longshop. Second in the Group 2, Lily Langtree, behind the perfectly ridden Sumo Sam on that day. 4th of 7, the Group 2 Lonsdale Cup over the 2 miles when last seen at York. So yeah, River of Stars, there's not too many stones I can throw at her in this.
We've not just got Marie's Rock, we've got, of course, Rachel Blackmore coming over for Terms of Endearment as well. Great to see Rachel on the flat, Keels.
Yeah, and you haven't mentioned another Irish raider, Jessie Harrington, a Trevornance. Is the each way value for me, I think. Now, she's been out of form. 2 stinkers at Maidan and then ran better at Court last time. But all at a time when Jessie Harrington's horses, I mean, she couldn't buy a winner in the first part of the year, could she? She'd be terrible. I mean, I think jumped some flat. She was something like north from 45 from January to March. All come round. She's absolutely flying at the moment. She's got tons of form that puts her right up with the best of these. In group races, she is trying a new trip. She's buying a champion sprinter, Moo Hurrah, who seems to get more stayers than staying stallions.
Mad, isn't it?
Absolutely crazy. I think she's well worth a chance at the trip. She certainly stayed on strongly when placed in a 1 mile 4 furlong soft round group race last year. So yeah, give her a chance. Expecting just the way Jessie Harrington's horses are running, she's not come over here for just a day out.
No, okay. You echoing that, Johnny Dineen?
Yeah, I am actually. I like Trevant, so I give it a chance anyway. Like I just see it's the same price as Marie's Rock. Like if she hasn't got a better chance than Marie's Rock, I'll give it up anyway. Like, that can't be surely. Like Marie's Rock, I wouldn't like. Johnny said they went 25. I wouldn't back it. I don't know. You couldn't name the price. I could name that thing at anyway. And there's a few here like River of Stars. There's a good chance, obviously, but it is its first run. So it's same with Term of Endearment, same with Safety Catch. But Trevenance has been to Maidan, but it's a reasonable run in Cork there in a 1.5 mile race. And I'd give it a chance. I was surprised it was so big a price, and I was surprised it was like nearly double the price of Term of Endearment, because I'd fancy it to beat that, and I definitely fancy to finish in front of Marie's Rock. I think it's a pretty good each way bet myself, Trevenance.
Just looking at Johnny Dineen as the name Shagpile came up on the lead. I was quite enjoying that. Jessie Harrington each way, thanks. Yeah, so in agreement with Paul. And I think Johnny put that on top as well. So Trevenance then, a value play against the strongly fancied River of Stars. That's our feature race at York today. We move on. What's coming up next, of course? Is it time? Not quite the big time, but time for a big tip. It's Divine Comedy heading the betting. This is the agreement tip then. It's the Nifty Sohel Nook Handicap. Easy for me to say, Johnny Simpson.
Yeah, we're paying 4 places here, so plenty of each way value about. Divine Comedy is really strong, 130 from 6 to 1. Nothing to see as well, 92 from 7 to 2. I think it might be plenty to see there. I think that could be a group horse here. It would take the world of beating. But the weak one here, Law of the Sea, I think was tipped up midweek, opened up 4 to 1 on Thursday. It's now out to 8 to 1. We can't give that one away. All
right, okay, yeah, Law of the Sea was gambled on at Chester. And Richard Kingscote had a really good day that day. I think it was on it. Was it Richard Kingscote was on it? I don't want to get this wrong. I've got a history with this. But whoever was on it, I think it was. They just went that little bit too soon. They and they set it up for the Martin horses, didn't they? Yeah. Jim Crowley was on it. I wonder whether he left it behind slightly at Chester, whether that was the big day. And I'm echoing what Johnny's saying about nothing to see. Solid. But you and Tom are obviously, what's all this Divine Comedy about?
Again, it's price, isn't it? Like, now we're in a situation. I mean, I put Divine Comedy up at the start of the week, and I said in today's paper, I think she's probably at the basement price now. And of course, then Tom tipped her, and she halved again. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't back her at the price she is now, but she is super consistent. She likes soft ground. She ran really, really well on her return. She hasn't been out of the first 3 for 2.5 years, like, you know, and she just keeps improving basically. So I think she's got a great chance, but. Would I back her at the price she's now? No, I think she'll drift back out. I do think she'll drift back out. I thought Goodwood and Haydock had run well. I thought he shaped okay last time, and he was 5th in this race last year. And I still think, old boy, You Can Glen might run well as well. So I'll be looking at him. I just love him. Like, you know, I mean, everybody does, don't they? So
You Can Glen.
So, but he can still. You know, he still shows decent form every now and again, doesn't he, even despite his age?
Yeah, Zimmerman is a course and distance winner. Has probably had a prep for this as well. Kate?
Oh, I thought this was a nightmare. Yeah, this would be my get out of jail free card then for this 2 miles in the soft ground around Haydock. Like the market support clearly has come there for Divine Comedy then, completely understandably so. The weakness behind Law of the Sea has been fascinating from what he was earlier on in the week. Because second in this race last year, behind Solent Gateway, who of course has been in no form with those 3 duck eggs this season. I do wonder, though, if this has been the aim for him. Of course, the ground conditions are completely different this time around to last year. And this race last year, it was run in a relative cruel, which is why Law of the Sea, it was disappointing. He still couldn't get the job done there. He was always well positioned. So I don't know why he would go one better this year. Rather than Solent Gateway, £4 lower this year, he's not going to get that uncontestedly that he got in this race last year to be able to go steady on the front end. But I just wondered if he's had those few nubbles, those 20s yesterday. I wonder if he might just be the way to go then for this, just for a small stake.
And he's got Mr. Haydock on Richard Kingscote. It was William Buick the Road last year. Head straight. Johnny, tell us about this race. Divine Comedy?
I have to pick one that I want to go for it. There isn't much juice in the price now at the same time, 130. It's priced into the bone now, I think, at that price. Look, it's consistent and it has a nice racing weight. It'll go on the ground, it'll get the trip. It has a lot going for it, but would I back it at 130? I don't think I will. I think it's quite a tricky race. There's a few outsiders here, like the likes of Garbonate or even your kindness or your kindness, whatever you like to call it. That might have a chance. Look, if I was forced, maybe Divine Comedy, but it'd be a very tentative selection for me.
All right, cheers, Johnny. We're going to get some big words from Johnny on the rest of Ireland this weekend. Of course, we've got tomorrow coming up. But now it's time for our first race from the Curragh. Really good card at the Curragh today, as it should be. Some fascinating juvenile races, of course. We'll get to them a little bit as well. But we've got to look at the Guineas. And before we go and give Johnny the floor, let's go to Johnny the Judge up in his betting cave. And the 340, Rosalien, solid at tips on, 10 to 11. You were shorter than that this morning, Johnny, which I saw on the app when I picked it up. And River Tiber, that 9 to 2 is the boost, but hard at 7 to 2 elsewhere.
Yeah, Rosalien is solid at 10 to 11. We just, it's obviously a big Group 1. We're happy to lay 10 to 11. But the River Tiber is the one we're after here. We think he's a potential doubtful stayer at 9 to 2, still in the boost.
All right, okay. We're all seeing it quite big at the moment. Let's have a little reminder of the poll. Then it came up. Who wins the Irish 2,000 Guineas? Rosalien, 62%. River Tiber, the boost, 9 to 2. Nowhere will you find that 15%. Artem as well, though, solid as well, another 8% as well. Johnny Dineen, take it away. River Tiber, what do we like?
Yeah, look, I think he's definitely the stable pick, but comfortably. So, like, if he is a good bit better than questionable, that gives him every chance on form from France last year of maybe taking care of Rosalien. Look, I suppose the doubt has to be the trip. He's 6 furlongs. He's never run past 6 furlongs. Saying that, he did look like a horse that would stay at least 7 furlongs to me. I'm certain that he would get 7 furlongs. Whether he gets the final furlong is the problem. Rosalien himself mightn't be the strongest of stayers, though, at the same time. And, like, when these English horses come to the Curragh, they don't always find it that easy, and it is kind of like an away game. And Hartem, the third favourite, like, ran, I think, 9 times as a 2-year-old, and he can't be getting any better. And it is hard enough to fancy outside. Look, it's hard enough to fancy outside the front two in the betting, to be fair. Like, the outsiders look to have very little chance. Even I could even see Atlantic Coast running better than some of the ones inside in the betting, but it kind of half boils down to nearly a match to me. And I was going to take a chance that River Tiber does get the trip, because I do think if he does, he is well capable of taking out Rosalien.
Let's just concentrate on River Tiber then. The pick of Ryan Moore of the trio from Aidan O'Brien. You've got the reopposing Unquestionable, who's been beaten by Rosalien. He beat Mountain Bear, who returned injured at the Breeders' Cup. Trying to remember all of this. And yet, here we are looking for a trainer who's going for 13th record Irish 2,000 Guineas, and we're getting 4 to 1.
Yeah, because there's a big doubt about him staying, and he's got the second in the Guineas, who looked like he was travelling over the entire field until Notable Speech turned up. So, I think Rosalien is a very strong favourite, and I think he deserves to be. That poll suggested he should be about 8 to 13, isn't it?
So Kealy wakes up.
I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with that, to be honest. I think the less of a stamina test at the Curragh, because it's a smaller field and they're not going to go really hard. I think that'll suit him. It might also, if River Tiber is going to need to settle off, going slower than he normally goes. I just think Rosalien wins.
The word is that Sean Levy was coming out the dip thinking, woohoo, aye, here we go. And then Notable Speech right past him. It looked like that, didn't it? We've got some more socials coming up. Yes, we do. Tom Leachy's with us. Would rather back Rosalien than Van Dijk. The two hot pots today, I think we can all agree, Leachy, are indeed Rosalien and River Tiber and Van Dijk. I'm looking at that River Tiber 7 to 2. It keeps going 4 to 1, 7 to 2. It's 9 to 2 with the boost. I like Unquestionable. He's a very uncomplicated horse, and I think he's probably, arguably on paper, the strongest stayer. Mountain Bear, is he the hare? That rhymed. But he looks like he's probably definitely bred to stay a bit further than the other two ahead of him at Ballydoyle. Hartem I can't really have. I'm like Johnny there as well. Now gone 5 to 6 Rosalien. who you love.
Yeah, and Keele stole my line there where I was seeing the poll of a 62% saying, oh, that actually makes that 10 to 11 look quite a nice price, but I just couldn't do the maths quick enough to convert it back into an odds. But yeah, I really...
Alone.
No, my brain can't do that. But yeah, Rosalian though, I agree then with our social as well that I would rather now be siding with Rosalian rather than Van Dijk or be backing them at their current prices. But yeah, he'll be the one for me. But I just fancy the Hannon pair to do what they did at Newmarket, but
Forecast.
minus notable speech. Yeah, the forecast then, Veer.
Nice.
I like Artem, and I think he's going to go forwards along with Take Me to Church as well to set the pace of the race. And Artem, he's a good horse. You don't want to be letting him, a la audience, be having too much of a free rein. I don't think he'll quite have that here. But the Hannon pair, I think that we might just be on for the forecast with the Ballydoyle contingent. We know the theme of the season with at the top level, reappearance starts.
Yes, yeah, that is also the other factor to worry in, isn't it? But I suppose the season is progressing a bit more now, so you feel like to think they've got a bit more work into them. All right, that is 340. It's an absolute cracker. I think it was only a bonkers price. But if you're not sure about that 10 to 11, stick around for the end of the show. All right, as we've mentioned and alluded to, you can get all the quotes from Connections, video replays, all the tips from Keel, Siegel, et al, and loads more in the Members Club.
Get 50% off your first 3 months in the Racing Post Members Club. As a member, you get access to the digital newspaper exclusively available to members the night before. You'll get daily tips from the likes of Pricewise, Tom Siegel, Robbie Wilders and Paul Kealy. Enjoy award-winning journalism from the industry's best writers and watch replays from all British and Irish racing now available within the Racing Post app. Subscribe today and get 50% off your first 3 months.
That's the air conditioning in here. I think Kate and me are laughing. It's easy like a Sontag Mogan. Is the end. Well, which means Sunday service is coming your way. Okay, all right. Let's hone in then. Of course, another fine card coming for the car. We've got Johnny Dineen here to give us his pearls of wisdom as well. But let's go to Johnny the Judge, our top William Hill trader, who can tell us where the market since they've been up. Obviously, the decks came out yesterday, Johnny. Of course, what sort of height of interest is there already for Sunday? I mean, Opera Singer, of course, making a return is one big jewel, but the supporting cast.
Yeah, this is a good little race. There's not a great deal of interest as of yet, but we're 7-4 Rogue Millennium. Obviously, it's moved to the Joseph O'Brien yard. We're 11-2 Ocean Jewel and 11-2 Orchid Bloom, but not a great deal of interest so far in this.
All right, thanks, Johnny. Let's get involved. Johnny Dineen, let's bring you in then. 235, it is a Lanwades stud stakes. We've seen this race over and over again. It's usually a sort of precursor for the Duke of Cambridge, isn't it? Which, of course, Rogue Millennium won last year when with Tom Clover. What do we make of her chances, John, first of all? And is she the tip?
No, she's not. She's the exact opposite. I don't fancy that at all, Rogue Millennium. I was going to lay that. I don't fancy a couple of favourites in the Curragh tomorrow, and this is one of them. It's her first run for the stable. They don't have a wonderful record getting horses off of other people either, Joseph O'Brien. I've seen a few down the last few years where they, like the likes of Jumbly, and they've had a few other horses that they got from France and they haven't done much with them either. So, look, she's a good filly on her day, but she finds it hard to win. I think that run in Ascot's probably her last win. She has form in the majors, but she's a lot of ordinary runs too and finished nowhere in races. I thought like a 2-1. I would bet 2s on that she won't win anyway. I'll take my chances that's one of the other 6 or 7. I think it's tricky outside of that. I wouldn't like to have a bet in the race, but she was one of my lays of the whole day anyway. I don't fancy her at all, Rogue Millennium.
Oh, there we go. Okay, not just big tips, big lays as well for you green ups out there. Kate, she was one of my big moments of a few at Royal Ascot, only a few at Royal Ascot, and Danny Tudhope gave her an absolute beat. Johnny's right, she hasn't won since then, but she went for bundles. A lot of people would have retired her and just gone to the paddocks.
Yeah, she went for a small fortune then, didn't she? Well, we imagine so. But yeah, new connections now. And that's what I was very similar to Johnny with them when I was looking at this race and I saw Rogue Millennium at the head of it, and I thought, right, I'll take her on because she's not got the profile of a horse that I tend to side with. Reappearance start, new stable, new connections, so many unknown variables. Tried to find something to take her on with. and just struggled, basically. I couldn't find anything else then. Goldana, I think the ground will be too quick for her. I do like her, but I just think the ground's gone against her. So kind of by default, really, I ended up back on Rogue Millennium then. And I mean, some of that form, when she is good and when she was good last year, like say the 10-1 winner, nicely done, Royal Ascot then. But even her 5th in the Group 1 QE2, she was hardly disgraced at 50-1 in that. Second behind Tahira in the Matron, of course, beaten just over a length. So if she runs up to that form, then she should be winning this. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, fact-finding mission kills you, Phil. You were nodding along through all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly the same as Kate. I tried to find a reason to, but I came down to the opposite opinion of Johnny. I thought she's probably just a good thing. She's better than these. Yes, it's first time out. I mean, fair play to the previous owners. Bought her for 35 grand, sold her for 1.65 million.
There you go.
Fantastic
bit
of business. I'd imagine they'll be really devastated if she can't win this first time up. Obviously, she's being bought to end up being a broodmare, no doubt. But I think it's a very, very winnable race.
I wonder if they've got a bit of an international plan in mind as well for a little bit later on. She's 5-year-old now, but she probably does have a bit more to offer. Okay, all right, Tricky. We've got William Aggis in there as well with Orchid Bloom as well, who was bogged down on her return, but was 5-2 at Goodwood. But again, a recovery mission there. Let's move on to the Group 1 action, shall we? One of two for you at the Curragh on Sunday. This was a big race in France, which I might give a nod to shortly as well. But he's back. It's August Rodin. What do we do with this one? And William Hill, Johnny Simpson are going tips on 10-11.
Yeah, this is. I'd say this horse will make or break Sunday's Curragh P&L. It's always the most popular whenever it runs, and it's either all or nothing. It's got a 1 or a 0 by its form, and we'll be trying to take this one on again. We've got it well stuffed at Meydan. We're having another go at it here. We're siding with Elegant Man, first time on turf. This looks a bit of a beast, this. So, looking forward to this. 10-11, August Rodin. All
right, Johnny Dineen, let's come to you then. August Rodin. Marmite, John, do you love it or hate it?
Look, it's obviously a horse with an issue, and sometimes the issue surfaces, other days it doesn't. Look, it's as Johnny said there, it either wins or blows out. The forecast is quite bad tomorrow, and you'd expect a bit of rain.
Interesting.
The way they're talking is going to be rain, and if the rain comes, I wouldn't fancy it in any shape or form anyway. The only chance it has is if the ground stays fast. I do think they may not even run it if the ground goes very slow anyway. But you just couldn't back it. I don't know how anyone could back Augusta Rodin in any kind of a race, to be honest. Saying that, it has form that makes it a winner. Obviously it does, but it has just too many blips on its card now. And it as I said, it's a winner blowout job. And even in its run in the Derby last year, it's vulnerable even on that form. And I'd be opposing it. There's no way I'd back it anyway. And if the ground coming anyway, any bit of an ease in the ground, I'd be laying it from a max.
Ooh, all right, another one that he's out to get then. All right, Max Leigh from Johnny Dineen, August Rodin kills.
Well, it's the ultimate binary horse, isn't it? Like he said, it's just 1-0, 1-0. What do you do with him? I don't know whether it's physical or mental. He either throws spits the dummy out, or he has a physical issue that sometimes rears its up. On the other hand, he's won 2 derbies, an Irish Champion Stakes, and a Breeders' Cup Turf. I mean,
there is another hand.
What do you do with him? On the other hand, he's completely different class, and he just wins.
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, I sit it out. I wanted to give Elegant Man a chance, but in the end, I just thought, well, White Birch has actually been hacking up.
Yeah,
this season. He's going well. He's a nice horse.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got the quality of August Rodin, but if I was going to have a bet, and I'll admit you, I'm not. I'm a bit like Johnny. I can't trust August Rodin.
Johnny, just come back to you before we finish up with Kate on this. White Birch's form could potentially get a boost today with Raise You, couldn't it, at the Curragh for Joseph?
Yeah, Raise You has a chance. Yeah, he's an 8-year-old, but he's a horse that hasn't been overly harshly raced in that. He's probably troublesome one to train maybe, but he's a good horse in his day. Raise You, I quite liked him, but again, there wasn't much juice in his price this morning at the same time. He's a good chance, and he's a nice comeback run, and he won the race 2 years ago, I think. But it's mile and a half. Everything's in his favour now as well. It probably today is probably going to be his day if he's going to win races again. I'd kind of like him, but White Birch has been beating horses here that are below, like Augusta Road. Put it this way, if Augusta Road does what it does some days, it will win here. But it's just a huge if. It's a huge if, but I do think the ground is quite important to it. Even though it won as a 2-year-old, and I have a feeling that whatever is wrong with it, and I have a feeling what's wrong with it too, that it's more likely to surface if the ground is taxing.
Yeah. So might not even run, Kate. That's helping your final preview of this race.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to have this carry on with August Rodin all over again this year. I got pelters after the Irish Champion Stakes when he won that last year. I took him on and said there was no way I could be backing him at that price after his flop in the King George. And I got a luckless run on my selection anyway in that. But and so I just, when he was back in training again this season, oh God, I'm going to have this all over again with this horse. But yeah, obviously I'm going to continue the trend of taking him on then at that price. And White Birch is the obvious one for me as well. 2 from 2 this season, both over the course and distance. If the rain comes, ideal for him. But he did obviously take well to quick conditions in the Derby last year when he finished 3rd. So I think he's more ground versatile than it necessarily looks on first basis. But if the rain comes, ideal.
2 potential.
I mean, you won't be surprised if August Rodin gets beat, will you? But you also won't be surprised if he wins 3 much better Grade 1s later on in the season.
There you are.
Yeah.
One
exactly
of those,
that. Exactly that. And he's obviously very important to them being the deep end backs. With the sire, of course. 2 potential pace runners in here. Crypto Force isn't there for the good of his health, I don't think. He might try and set out for Elegant Man. And at the prices, I thought Elegant Man was very interesting. Adrian Murray's got, he's got a big season ahead of him, and I wonder whether this is one of the big players. Anyway, that's the Group 1. Tattersalls Gold Cup, of course, maybe hampered slightly by a Coronation Cup coming up next Saturday. But this has not been hampered, this race. And finally, we get to see opera singer back out. She missed the 1,000 guineas at Newmarket, Johnny Simpson. 3-1. I thought I might see bigger.
Did you?
Yeah, I suspect you might do. I mean, what a race this is. I think you can make a case for several of these. But we're paying 4 places here. Opera Singer 3, Fallen Angel obviously disappointed in the Guineas 11-2, Vespertilio 6-1. But I think there's a proper horse here at 8-1. Purple Lily dropping back in trip. I think remain convinced that she's of Guineas class. So I think 8-1. I'd be having a few quid each way on her at 4 places.
All right, yeah, I'm sort of thumbs upping on that one. Paddy Toomey's horse as well. I thought I'd see bigger because she was really weak last night. I thought it was 5-2.
Yeah, I see. Because last night,
I thought the drift was going to continue.
The thing is, if she was right and ready for the 1,000 guineas,
she's even money, isn't
she'd have been shorter, wouldn't she?
She's a beautiful animal.
She'd have been shorter at Newmarket if she was right. Now, obviously, Aidan O'Brien's had his issues getting her ready because she was going to miss that from a long way out. So we'll have to see what she is. If they think she's ready, then she's the one to beat.
First time out, we got here
again. We got first time out. Obviously, it's a lot later in the season now. First time out, and you should be thinking these horses can get fitter at home because they've had more time on the gallops,
sun on their back, etc.
John
Gosden talking about flowers out.
I did like Vespertilio's run in the French Guineas. I thought she was quite brave there. Fast finishing 3rd, only got beaten ahead in the neck. And goes really well at this track, has won here, was second to Fallen Angel, travelling really well. So that was the one I came down on.
All right, okay. Kate.
Yeah, I hugely respect Opsing, and that price is just there to tempt you in now, isn't it, completely? But again, from what we've been saying, though, about these Ballydoyle horses on their reappearance starts, I still wanted to take her on. But Buttons is the one who I just wonder if she's worth taking a bit of a shot with here, because I know we saw the big price upset in the 1,000 guineas at Newmarket. I wonder if this one, she's another one of those, we get those typical fillies from Ballydoyle where they're just those slower burners and then they rack up those sequences later on in the season. And for her 2 defeats this year, you can mark her up for both occasions. The 3rd on her reappearance start, she was a big eye catcher in that because she did best of those come from off the pace, looking like she wanted to step up in trip. She got that last time out up to the mile, but again, she was second in a race that just turned into a 2-furlong sprint effectively. So neither of those races have suited her. She'll hopefully have the pace in to aim at in this race to see her to much better effect than in this. And I just wonder at 10-1, she was the one at the price that intrigued me the most.
Is anyone giving any love before we go to Johnny Dineen about Fallen Angel? I mean, she's obviously been to Ireland and done it. She won the Moyglesh. It's a real deal.
It's one of those. If you forgive her the guinea, she's got a good chance, hasn't she? I mean, Carlberg was talking her up. She was working well, etc. Didn't quite work out on the track, did it? You think you can forgive a horse a bad run. She's right up there with the best of them. Yeah,
I heard Danny Tudhope speaking afterwards, I think, when he rode a winner somewhere one day, and he said, I wonder whether she might be one that stretches out in distance a little bit as the time goes on. But a 6-1 about that, I don't know if you're a forgiving punter, you'll be looking at it too. Johnny, are you a forgiving punter? When Kate mentioned Buttons there, I couldn't help have a little smile because she let punters down last time, didn't she?
She did, but she kind of didn't. The race didn't really fall in her way. I actually think Buttons will finish in front of Opera Singer.
Yes.
I'd give Opera Singer 0 in this race now. Absolutely no chance. Of the favourites for the whole weekend, this is the one horse I can't have anyway. It's missed earlier in the year. It's had a wind up, and it's coming back here like it's its first run. There's no way it can be 100%, and you need to be 100% to win these races. So for that reason, it's the first horse I draw a line through. Fallen Angel didn't run great in Newmarket, but it has more clear form. The one I like is, like, I do give Buttons a good chance. It definitely, I'd fancy to finish in front of Opera Singer. It may even win. The one I like is Purple Lily, for the reason that Billy Dee takes the ride. He could have ridden that. He could have ridden the Lilac Rolla. And he went to France to ride Vespertilio the last day and left the horse to Toomey's like one look behind in Leopardstown. I'd imagine if he really thought Vespertilio was the right one, he could have ridden that. So that's 3 horses I'm only guessing that he could have ridden. And Purple Lily didn't get the trip in Navan over 10 furlongs. It has no ground issues. I'd say mile is his trip. It is a tricky race, but I'd be against the favourite and with Purple Lily and maybe to a lesser extent Buttons.
Okay. Don't you just love it when Johnny just basically just underlines everything? So Buttons finishes in front. I can't give it a 0. That means added to it, of course, Opera Singer. Another massive lay in the order of the day for Johnny Dineen. That, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, is our race previews concluded. A marathon of them.
All 27,000 of them.
Can you remember what you tipped in the opener?
God, no, I can't remember what the opener was.
So.
Yeah, yours is coming up. All right, great stuff. Who's enjoying the show? Don't forget, like and subscribe. That's what it's all about. Great to have you with us on the Morning Post. Every Saturday we're with you. All right, all being well. Sponsored by William Miller. We're all over the place with their sponsorship. Johnny Simpson, though, is stuck in the betting cave all day. Red alerts coming at him all over. And it's time for the biggest red alert of the morning. It's nap time, Johnny Simpson. So you brace yourselves and get the boosted price of each of these horses ready as I go along the panel, OK? Right, Kate Tracey, go.
Yeah, Rosalian then for me. I like the look of that boost as well then. So, yes, I don't think that he's going to be beaten in the 2,000 guineas, the Irish 2,000 guineas, to back up his second from the Newmarket guineas then. And hopefully, obviously, he's not got notable speech in the way this time around either. So
just wins.
Yeah, just wins.
And we're getting odds against, as Johnny's about to tell us.
Involvement. First race on TV. Go hard, go early, and try not to fritter it away afterwards.
Johnny Dineen, give us your nap, man.
I'm going to chance Regal Jubilee, but like it won't be a massive play for me because I think the racing is nicer tomorrow. My weekend will revolve around getting a few horses, trying to get them beat in the Curragh tomorrow. But I'm going to chance Regal Jubilee today. All
right, then that is in the second race at Goodwood, the 205. I'm on a hat trick, who knew? And I've gone for the Amazon, 14 at Haydock. Hosed up at Windsor last time.
I was really, really hoping to see some 4-1 about this and never materialised yesterday. It's just going to get shorter and shorter, and I don't know how it's got that mark.
Yeah, right.
And was it 75, isn't it?
They ran this in the Wood Ditton, I think, didn't they? Or something like the Wood Ditton, or the Alex Scott,
yeah,
or whatever it was. It was hammered in its price. They love it. And it's a very, very good horse in the making, this. So I like the hat trick. What about you, Johnny Simpson? You're hoping that history repeats itself 12 months on.
Yeah, River of Star Smith, it's got the best form, goes all fresh, the yard of flying. So these are all boosted on the site until 1 o'clock, I believe. The Amazon 15-8, Involvement 7-1, Rosalian odds against, you won't get that anywhere else. Regal Jubilee 11-4, and River of Stars 3-1. Plenty of value there.
And we've got River Tiber as the boost as well, out to 9-2. All live and available to you. All right, that concludes matters here on this morning's post. Great to have you back, Kate Tracey.
Oh, it was a bumper edition, wasn't it? Yeah, really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me back.
I can't wait to see you again soon. Keels.
Yeah.
Go hard, go early. Try not to fritter away. That's every day, isn't it?
Go to bed if it all goes wrong.
Which you might. All right, great stuff. And let me just tell you about that boosted one of Paul's as well. There's been a lot of talk about what they should go with that boosted involvement as well. And DJ's put it in his tent to follow for the year. Pressure's on. Johnny Dineen, always a pleasure, man.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me, Dave. All the best. See you, Kate. See you, Paul.
See you, Johnny.
Thank you.
Good luck with that satchel filling and the favs tomorrow. All right, Johnny Simpson, always a pleasure as well. Good luck today. Look out for those red arrows.
I will do. Best luck today. We'll see you next week for Derby Day.
Yes, Derby Day next week. Okay, and then we've got, of course, French derbies. We've got Prix d'Ispahan tomorrow, Blue Rose Seine back on track. It's all happening, isn't it? Great to have you with us. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment and share. All the sport out there. The sun is shining. Enjoy it.